My name is Marlon Gordon, and I am here with the Vice President of Innovation and Customer Engagement, Nate. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Marlon. Thanks for having me on today.
It's my pleasure. So we're here to talk about eggs, huh?
Everybody loves talking about eggs, especially today.
First question for you, sir, is consumers may be surprised to learn that this bird flu outbreak is entering its fourth year, though manufacturers, food service operators, and retailers are likely all too aware. What has been the most significant change recently that has intensified the public's attention, and how has the egg industry responded to that change?
Yeah, there's a lot there, Marlon. I would say that, like you said, we've been facing this virus and dealing with it since 2022. I think the sheer magnitude and impact that the industry has seen in the last 6 months has really put a lot of eyes on it. To just give you some numbers, since the outbreak started in 2022, we've lost over 136 million egg-laying hens. Just in January and February of this year, we lost over 30 million. And since October of last year, we've lost over 50. So, you had an already constrained market going into last fall that got hit with a significant number of birds that were lost, which just created an enormous shock to the system, for lack of a better word. And then on top of that, you've got you have pullet farms. So pullets are young hens. Pullet farms were also impacted. Several million pullets were lost, which makes the restocking of farms even more challenging. And egg farmers are doing everything they can to address this. They are putting all their resources, working around the clock on really, kind of shoring up the supply chain, increasing production, and getting as many eggs out as possible. And I would also, say that we're incredibly thankful to the government and the U.S. Department of Agriculture for the additional resources that they've provided to help with this issue as well.
Yeah, I bet. And this issue is more of a supply chain issue, correct? And I believe that as long as you cook the eggs properly, we're still safe to eat them, right?
100%. There are no food safety issues as long as you cook them properly, just like you said.
The egg supply is severely challenged, but how has it affected consumer demand for eggs and for CPG items that demand eggs on or as ingredients?
Yeah, actually, demand has been extremely strong, which interestingly has kind of put further pressure on the situation, because of the constrained supply. But demand, consumers love their eggs, and I think, from a consumer standpoint, we've seen 23 out of 24 4-week periods of year-over-year volume growth in retail. And I think there's a number of different factors that are influencing that, but I think it definitely shows that eggs are indispensable for consumers. They're part of their normal routines and daily life. And we also know that their appetite for protein, it continues to grow. Consumers can't seem to get enough protein these days, and eggs play a big role in that. On the ingredient side, again, demand is strong. And a lot of that is based on the functionality that eggs provide to food formulas. They really are a kind of a secret weapon, if you will, for recipes and for food formulas, and it makes it challenging to replace them. And so I think that kind of provides an underpinning of demand for the market.
What are the most impactful trade-offs between real eggs and egg substitutes?
Yeah, I'll build off what I was just talking about. I mean, I think two of the biggest differences between eggs and egg substitutes are going to be nutrition and functionality. So, I just talked protein, and I think, if you look at eggs versus egg substitutes, guess what? You can replace the protein, but in terms of the amount, but the quality of protein that is found in eggs is incredibly good. Similarly, if you look at the functionality side, I said they're kind of a secret weapon in food formulas. There's no one-for-one replacement when it comes to eggs and the functionality that they provide. but eggs provide over 20 different functional benefits to food formulas. And a lot of times you are not able to replace an egg with just one alternative ingredient. And so then you get into the question of, okay, consumers are looking for clean label products. They're looking for natural and natural ingredients, and you have to be really careful about what you're doing to the quality of the product by taking eggs out.
Yeah, I may dare say that eggs are a pretty easy to find superfood that's out there.
Yep, you said it.
Yeah. Okay, so on the food service side, how can menu makers keep innovating new menu items that feature or include eggs while they work with their suppliers to withstand their supply chain issues?
And ultimately, innovation is about playing the long game. And, I encourage restaurant chains that might be looking at reducing or thinking about what they should do with eggs. I encourage them to remember kind of what I just said a couple of minutes ago, that ultimately, eggs are what consumers are looking for, and they deliver a lot of the benefits. And so how do you incorporate those into menu applications that you might be able to charge more for and maintain your margins as a restaurant chain? And one of the ways which you can do that is actually by taking advantage of a trend that we see a lot of today, that we call blurring day parts, right? So think about breakfast, and you've got Monte Cristo breakfast sandwich, a Philly cheesesteak omelet, classic lunch, dinner menu items that consumers know that have been brought into breakfast and put into I'll call it a breakfast format. And in doing that, you can often charge more for that. I think it's getting creative with how you're using eggs to keep it on the menu, but make sure you aren't sacrificing margins to do that.
What resources does the American Egg Board offer to the egg buyer, and what's the one big picture thing that retailers and operators should know right now about where we are?
Yeah, so I'll start with the second part of that, and I think very simply, we will get through this, right? Like, I think it's in a time of crisis, it's easy to not be able to see what the end game looks like, but we will get through this. It's going to take us some time, and we know that, as I said earlier, with as constrained as the supply chain is, this is likely something that it's going to take us into 2026 to really build back up towards full production, but we will get through this. And I think one of the roles of the American Egg Board and particularly for customers is we're a resource. We're a resource not only for kind of the current situation, so helping you understand where we're at and what the industry is doing and how long we're going to be going through this, but even beyond that. So we have resources right now. We have actually three separate web pages, one for retailers, one for food manufacturers, and one for restaurant companies, with all the information they need related to bird flu and resources to help them communicate both internally within their organization or with franchisees, as well as with consumers. So there are resources on there where they can communicate with consumers either online or in store about kind of why eggs are priced the way that they are, or why they aren't able to find their favorite egg. And then beyond that, we have the American Egg Board has invested in a lot of resources specifically designed to help customers and really partner with customers. And I think that'd be the last message I would say is ultimately, we want to partner with retailers, with restaurant brands, and help you grow your business. And we've got consumer insights, we have innovation resources, and a host of others that ultimately are invaluable when it comes to kind of accomplishing your goals.
Yeah, well, that's all great. And I've seen a lot of the resources you guys have put out there, and it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal content. So thank you for that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.